Hey everyone, this is Dr. Casey Johnson. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I know you're going to love today's episode with Nikki Namdar. Nikki is doing some amazing work, so I'm excited to have her on to share a story with you guys. If you've been loving the Unlock Wellness podcast, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Also, be sure to follow me on social media to keep up with the latest podcast episodes. The best way to connect with me is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. My username across the board is at Dr. Casey Johnson. That's DrKaseyJohnson. You can also check out my website at drkaseyjohnson.com. It has all of the past podcast episodes and more information about each guest under the Listen tab. While you're on my site, be sure to check out the Shop tab where you can check out my first book of my Healthy Children's Book series and learn about the Unlock Wellness Project, which supplies a wellness bag to a child in need for each book purchased. Thank you again for listening. I hope this episode leaves you feeling inspired to start making positive changes to your health. Now it's time for today's episode. I hope you love my conversation with Nikki Namdar. Welcome to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I'm Dr. Casey and excited for today's guest. I'm here with Nikki Namdar. And Nikki is founder of the group Orlando Vegans, an amazing group that is spreading the vegan lifestyle in Orlando through amazing events, meetups, and a large social media following to help change so many lives. And I live in the Orlando area, so it's amazing getting to connect with Nikki and just hear all of the amazing work that she's doing. So Nikki, thank you so much for taking time to come on. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. And before we jump into everything that you're doing with Orlando Vegans, I want to hear your own backstory. First off, where you're from and what your own wellness journey has been, just how your vegan journey has been from, the get-go.
So originally from New York, where in Queens is where I actually started to become vegetarian when I was 14. I saw PETA slaughterhouse footage and I just knew I couldn't be a part of that anymore. So I went vegetarian and pretty much just lived off of cheese fries. It wasn't until I was about 21 when I realized that dairy was an issue too. And I decided to cut out all animal products after meeting Jane Velez Mitchell, who was an HLN reporter at the time. And she's a well-known vegan activist. And she's just like, go vegan. It's better for you, better for the animals, better for the environment. And I said, yeah. I will, absolutely. And not too long after that, I went raw vegan for several months and pretty much eliminated all of my Hashimoto's disease symptoms. My hair stopped falling out, my skin cleared up, my nails got stronger, and I just never looked back.
Man, so that only lasted for the 7 months? I mean, not only, that's a really big accomplishment to stay raw vegan for that long. You said 7?
I said several. So I want to say I did it for 3 to 6 months, somewhere around that time, and probably had like one cooked meal a week or something, if that on a weekend. But I felt stronger, better, and the most energized I've ever been in my entire life.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've done like a month of completely raw, and you definitely feel the difference with it. I've never done several months. I probably should just kind of like challenge myself a little bit, but it is amazing. But, to kind of go back to when you were talking about, you watched the slaughterhouse footage from that PETA had put out there. Like, how did you even find that? Like, were you just kind of looking online or did somebody recommend it to you? Cause it's kind of like, it's not something that people are just watching every day,
Yeah, I don't remember the exact moment I stumbled on it, but being in Queens, I was surrounded by other vegetarians and like-minded individuals. So something probably was just passed along to me, maybe even through magazines I read and, bands that I listened to that were vegetarian, vegan. And I just was always just aware of the issue too. I would be at the grocery store with my mom and I'd ask her, why is there red stuff in the blood red stuff in the meat when I was really little? And she would tell me it was blood. And it just clicked in my head that something wasn't right there, or when I was on my uncle's farm, and I cracked open an egg out of curiosity as a child, and it was a dead chicken. I just really started to pull pieces together, and it broke my heart. And yeah, one day I just stumbled across a video and saw what the reality is.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And it's really cool that you at, a somewhat younger age, you were able to kind of put those two things together, because I mean, I feel like for the most part, we all have like these blinders up, and, it's good marketing for the most part from these companies because we just don't know what we don't know. So it's cool whenever you hear about just people that kind of, they stumble upon it, but at the same time, they kind of clicks before they really start researching. And I always think it's super interesting when I hear people talk about that, because it's like, I mean, I never really, I guess for myself, like, I never was a huge, like, I never wanted like steak or seafood. Like, I never really wanted it, especially with like, even with like shrimp and stuff. Like, like you see like the little like veins and stuff and like the little shrimp, like that always grossed me out, and I never wanted it, but it never clicked to me like that, So I think it's cool when it clicks without you having to do the research, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in a Middle Eastern family, and our fish that they would lay out had the eyeballs in it. And, my family's eaten goat brain and cow tongue. And it was just so easy for me to give it up. And I think actually, to be honest, I think when we're children, we don't have blinders on. I think that we're more compassionate and empathetic as children, and we love animals, and we just don't really make that entire connection. But then, our parents tell us, well, you have to eat meat. This is what you have to do. This is a part of the lifestyle and the diet. And so you assume that that's what you're supposed to do. And then one day, yes, your blinders come off and you realize, okay, no, I was lied to. This is not how it's supposed to be. We're more compassionate than this, and animals deserve better.
Yeah, no, that is very true. And I know like we had talked before about like my daughter, she's 2, and like that's how she eats as well. And like I can just see her compassion with animals, and it's so like sweet,
so beautiful. Yeah,
it really is. Like, she loves all animals so much, like even like snakes, which is kind of like, we'll be like we were just at this place that had like snakes, and it's funny because like my husband was like, oh, I can't be in this room, like there's snakes, and then she's going up to the snakes going, oh, you're so cute, and it was like hilarious. But like you were saying, it's just younger kids like that, the blinders aren't there quite yet, and they just have so much compassion. And then plus, once you make that switch, the compassion goes up even more because you're just more connected with it. And I know if you're listening, that might sound kind of like hippie-ish, but I mean, it's very, very true. And like, I mean, there's a lot of like kind of research that backs that up too, that you just become more compassionate and more loving and less like anger. I mean, it really affects you on all of those levels.
Oh, absolutely. I became so much happier when I became vegan. I always struggled with depression, not so much anger, but depression, and just becoming vegan and being so self-aware and aware of my surroundings and being with nature and animals, you just become happier and more at peace, and it's an unexplainable feeling. And I always tell people that too, that it's so good for your, not only your physical health, but your mental health as well.
Definitely. Yeah. And not to mention like the added, you're getting so much added like hormones and things and additives and chemicals and animal products. So when you cut that, you're also getting rid of that from your own person. Like, you're getting rid of that in your diet. Your body can process everything better. And when everything's processing better and not filtering out so many toxins and having to regulate so many hormones, your body can do its job. And that's not just physically, like you said, that's mentally as well. It's all interconnected.
Absolutely. I think that everything comes down to your diet and what you're eating. And that's not to say that some of us are, junk food vegans, but
hey, it happens from time to time, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to treat yourself. So, but you definitely cut out that animal cholesterol and the risk of heart disease and cancer and all of those things. So it's so much better for you.
Definitely. Yeah, I know I was in Arizona last week. Like, I try to not overdo the processed vegan food, but I had like 3 vegan burgers in a row and like fries, and it was like so great, but I definitely felt it. But it was, so now I'm like better. I'm being a better plant-based eater this week.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So once you started to, you made those changes, you started seeing all of the positive changes from being raw vegan. Where did it kind of go from that point? Are you still in New York? Like, what's your health looking like? What's the next steps looking like as far as diet as well?
So when I went vegan, I was actually here in Orlando. When I met Jane Velez Mitchell, we were both covering Casey Anthony's trial, and we just started
Wow.
talking, about veganism and vegetarianism. And from there, it just transformed my life and who I was. And I just felt a little disconnected from some of the people in my life. And I found that they weren't really interested in veganism. They weren't interested in going out to eat vegan food with me. So that's when I started Orlando Vegans, and I wanted to meet like-minded individuals. So I created what started as a WordPress blog. I started that, then I moved over to Instagram as part of a class project at UCF actually, and started following the Orlando Vegans hashtags and just kind of started talking to people. I know it sounds really creepy, but we're in the age of social media, and was one day like, hey guys, why don't we meet up? And we met up one day at Dandelion. There was about maybe 10 of us, and it grew from there.
That's amazing. Yeah, and definitely not creepy at all. I talk to strangers. I talk to strangers all day. It's all good.
Exactly.
No, that's really amazing though. Just the fact that you started that after your school project, and like, what did it look like when you had that first meetup? What it was kind of like the start of it? Was it like 1 or 2 people, or like how fast did it grow?
So the very first one was about 10 people. I call them the OVOGs, the original gangsters, because they were there since the beginning, and they were there at meetups after that, and met all these amazing people. And some people in the community know each other from the meetups now, and it's just amazing how much it's evolved. So
yeah. And like, what was, when you were starting that though, and you were trying to get some things organized, what were probably the biggest struggles you had with just growing it as a whole, or just the consistency part, or like just knowing it's going to take some time?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was very easygoing. It was like, hey, when are you free? And then it kind of just became bigger and bigger and bigger, and we started to gain more followers. So I started a closed group on Facebook to kind of have like a behind the scenes Orlando Vegan, so I can get people's ideas about what kind of meetups they wanted, because they were in such demand, and they just grew bigger and bigger. We had one event, Herbivore on the Dance Floor, where we worked with one of our Orlando Vegans, Mark Hershowitz, and we did a dance night, club night, and we had up to like 100 people come out.
Wow.
So we went from a meetup with 10 people to something as big as that. So it's been incredible.
That's cool. And I mean, you guys do have a pretty large social media following as well, which I'm sure has been so helpful in just getting the word out there, and having like the larger events like that. Like, how has the social media aspect of it just helped the growth of the community overall?
I think the most important thing that we show is the food, and we occasionally I'll show, maybe slaughterhouse footage or something that's a little more on the sad side, but I try to steer away from that and show the positive things, because that's what non-vegans want to see if they're trying to transition. I went to UCF for creative writing and mass communications, and took social media marketing classes and different things like that. So I kind of learned all the little tactics and how to use Instagram and how to use WordPress and different things like that. And I just hashtagged, engaged with people, followed people, any vegan that was in Orlando, and just explored. When I moved from Queens in 2005, I was like, okay, I'm stuck here. I got to find something cool to do. So I started exploring the different restaurants. I tried something new every time. I always ask questions. Do you have a vegan option? What can be vegan? And I was always a photographer, so the photographs meant everything. So I just went out, explored, took photos, and started posting them, hashtagging, and engaging. And the following grew organically. I've never used any paid ads or anything, or paid for followers or anything like that. All I wanted to do was meet people and show them that veganism is accessible here in Orlando.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, you guys have done so much, just amazing events. And like, the Veg Fest a few weeks ago was so awesome. I mean, we had a really great time. Yeah, I know. I wish we would have honestly connected before that, so we could have met up, but it was so good. And like, the food is amazing. And I think it's really great for, if you have non-vegan friends, to bring them to things like that, because there's so many food options that tastes so good. And, the misconception of vegan is that it tastes bad. It's just iceberg lettuce. Like, what do you guys
Yeah.
eat? And there's just so
Rabbit
much.
food.
Yeah, right. Rabbit food. And it's like, obviously that kind of event just completely changes that misconception. So like we had an awesome time at that event. And like, how has the city of Orlando been just like welcoming those kind of things? Because that was a very, very large event.
Yeah, I came on board. I came on board probably about 4 years ago when I met the head organizer, Larry Rumbo, and he was like, you really should be the food organizer, And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that would make sense because at this point I've built relationships with a lot of the vegan restaurants in town and different things like that. So I came on board and I had a vision of bringing a variety of different foods, not just, the rabbit food and different things like that. I want to see different things out there, various cultures. We've got Jamaican food that comes out. We've got Ethiopian food. We've got barbecue. And just really the purpose is to show that veganism is not just, lettuce and fruit and different things like that. It's hot dogs. It's pizza. It's jerk chicken. It's sloppy joes. It's all of those things. So Veg Fest and Earth Day really, really help the city of Orlando see that. We get a lot of non-vegans that come out there and really, really enjoy themselves. And they bring their family and friends, and a lot of them leave considering going vegan. So it plants the seed for sure.
That's cool. And not all of the vendors and the food trucks and vendors, they're not all from Orlando that came out to the event, right?
Well, we give priority to Orlando businesses, especially vegan businesses, but we do have longtime partnerships and different things with some out-of-towners, like nbsp Ethiopian from Tampa, people like that we've worked with for a long time. So no, not entirely from Orlando, but we do try to keep it Orlando-based.
Yeah, that's awesome. Put you on the spot a little bit. What's your favorite vegan restaurant in Orlando? Or you probably can you say it? Are you allowed to say it?
It's like choosing a child. I always say that. But I will give a harmless answer. So, and it's no secret. It's a non-vegan restaurant actually called Kiko Japanese Cuisine. Everyone always jokes and says, do you own that place yet? Because I've literally been there like every week, like always eating their food. And they have a 4-page vegan menu of Japanese food,
wow, from
chicken teriyaki to smoked eel rolls, 100% vegan. So I have to say Kiko Japanese is my little baby. And so yeah, I'll just say that. But I do love all the other great people like Market on South, Dandelion, Deja Needs, Boca Fresca. I mean, all of these amazing people who have come around over the last couple of years have really changed the game and have been doing so many good things.
That's amazing. And actually, I haven't eaten there yet at the Japanese restaurant you just spoke about. So definitely going to have to hit that up because that sounds amazing.
Yes. It's very addicting.
And like, I mean, you've been able, it's really given you an opportunity to do a lot of other cool things as well. I came across, like you got to go on like local news and really like talk to news anchors about just how you can transition into a vegan lifestyle. And it was actually really cool because like you could tell they were kind of like skeptical. And then they started trying like the sushi and like just the different, like you brought like the mac and cheese and like they're all like vegan, right? And they're all super surprised that you can still have the same things. It's just all about substitution or, just finding other options. So that's very cool that you've had those kind of opportunities as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Anything I can do to help people go vegan and save animals and save the environment and be good to their bodies, I mean, I will do it. So it's been such a cool opportunity that Wesh and Fox and different, people like that have asked me to come on. And if people want to hear what I have to say to go vegan, then I will do my best to do it. I want to help the businesses that are in town, the vegan restaurants that are in town. Overall, it all started from the heart and just wanting to help people, whether it's people transitioning to vegans or existing vegans, finding food and friends, or restaurants trying to make business and bring something really cool to the town. It's just all about helping people and building that bridge and bringing everyone together. That's always been the main goal. And it really starts with the food. I try to use that as the gateway. I tell people you're not giving up anything. You're actually gaining so much you find the alternatives. And so that's what Orlando Vegans is about. And then from there, we can connect you to the protests, to the different, things that activities that you can do and things like that. So, but it always starts with the food, because that's what the one thing people get scared of. They're like, am I not going to be able to eat pizza? And it's like, no, you can, don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, because, and I love that. And it's because like food is really the heart of community. I mean, that's what being like social is all about. That's why like, family gatherings, it's all about the food, and there's such an emotional tie there. It's just, it's so much more than just eating for most people, right? It's deeper than that. There's this like, I don't know, there's just this deep rooted emotion with different food choices. So it's cool having a community like this, especially in, a city like Orlando. It's because like when you want to make those changes, one of the hardest things is if you don't have somebody that kind of supports that decision, like whether family's not on board or you don't have like friends that kind of have those same values, just that community is what's going to help keep it sustainable. And I think having that with that many people, it just makes it more of a long-term decision, more sustainable. And like, I mean, otherwise, like a lot of people could fall off if they didn't have a community like that.
I agree. Food brings everyone together. So I love that. That's how you make friends. That's how, you see that veganism is out there, and it's been wonderful. And even now I've got, businesses coming to me and saying, hey, can you come in and taste this? Or can you consult with us, help us make a vegan menu? And we've really become one of the most vegan cities in the country. We're listed as the third most vegan city.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. That's pretty cool. What was 1 and 2? Probably
I can't remember, but I have a feeling it was Portland and like LA or something.
Yeah.
Which I think that we beat at this point. We're pretty spoiled here in Orlando.
No, that's amazing though. So like what's going on with the future of Orlando Vegans? Anything coming up or anything that you guys have planned for the future? Any events, anything like that?
Yeah, so we have our holiday party that we do every year with Vegetarians of Central Florida. That'll be coming up. We also are releasing a cell phone app, so awesome. That'll help people get around and find different foods wherever they're at. One of my friends, Jeff LaFay, he's amazing. He's going to be working on that for us. And basically, it's going to be an opportunity for you to find foods wherever you are. I've pretty much eaten at most places, vegan, non-vegan, that have options in town. So I really want to gather everything that I've learned in the last 15 years and put it in the cell phone app. So say you're in Apopka or something and you're with your family or you need to find something to eat. It'll tell you precisely what is around you and exactly what you can eat to the T. Very detailed.
That's cool. So, even if it's like a non-vegan restaurant then too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that some people are like, well, why are you promoting, non-vegan, this, that? And it's like, we have to, sometimes we're in the middle of nowhere. And, if we have to have a baked potato, we've got to have a baked potato. And we also need to show non-vegan businesses that we support those vegan options. And we need to keep them on board because that's what's going to change the world.
Right. And I think that helps so much too, because most people, the majority of their friends' family aren't vegan. So it's nice to be able to go out to eat and know what you can eat. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been out with friends or family that aren't. And I'm just like you said, I have to kind of research it in the car on the way there, order a bunch of sides and kind of make my own meal. I'm a master at making a taco salad at literally any restaurant. It's a skill. No, but that is super helpful though. And I think it takes a lot of pressure off to know, I can eat at most places and I can actually look on here and see what to eat. That way it takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll really help people. We get messages all the time asking, where can I eat here? Or where can I get in DeLand? Or where can I get, in all these different places. So, and right now on the website, orlandovegans.net, we do have a list that's going right now of the different places that you can eat and what side of town they're on. We also have a hub of resources, different protest avenues, what to do if you find an animal on the street. I'm always getting asked about that too. So orlandovegans.net has the answers to those things, but people can message me anytime. We also have Central Florida Earth Day coming up in April. So that'll be exciting. Yeah,
no, I'll definitely be there, and you can count me in for the holiday party. I'll definitely be there as well. And if you ever need an extra food taster, I'm not going to say no. So
Yeah, we're always on the Instagram. We're always doing giveaways for free food, free products, all sorts of things. So I hope, if people aren't already following us, if they do, so they can get some food and meet some people too.
Awesome. No, I love it. And so Nikki, what is the best way for people to follow you on social media? That way they can keep up with everything that's going on with Orlando Vegans. And if they either live here or visiting the area, they can keep up with all of the amazing places to go eat or events to check out.
I would say the best thing is Orlando Vegans on Instagram, but we are also on Facebook, YouTube. They can check out our website. They can sign up for our email list. But Instagram is definitely the go-to to find out what to eat, and they can always message me. So
perfect. Awesome. Yeah, Nikki, just closing question that I ask every guest. But if you just had one piece of advice for the audience, maybe it's been something that's been your biggest takeaway on your wellness journey so far, but if you just had one piece of advice to give, what would it be?
I would have to say that you can live a happy, healthy life being vegan, and you're not going to miss out on anything. Once you get started, you're never going to look back, and we're all here to help you, and there are friends out there that you're just waiting to meet.
Awesome. No, that's perfect, Nikki. And just thank you so much for all that you do. It's amazing and I love it. I'm excited to help out and just do what I can to help. And just thank you so much.
No, thank you. This was awesome. I really appreciate you reaching out to me.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you loved my conversation with Nikki. She's doing so much positive work, so be sure to give her a follow on social media to keep up with everything that she's been working on. You can find her social media links that we talked about in the episode in the show notes, but you can also find them on my website as well at drkcjohnson.com. That's drkaseyjohnson.com. Click on the Listen tab. Then from there, you'll be able to see all of the past guests that have come on the Unlock Wellness podcast, read a little bit about each guest, and be able to click on their social media links, websites, all of that. So all of Nikki's information can be found on my site as well. If you guys loved today's episode with Nikki, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you loved it. I hope it inspires you. And most importantly, I hope you take action.